Alright, this is lesson 11 for 7th grade. And today we talked about some simple word problems basically. And the two types that we talked about were combining and separating. Basically, if we think about our four major arithmetic operations, that would be addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. We would be talking about adding for combining, and for separating we're talking about subtraction. So that's the basis of what we're talking about today. So just to jump in, we basically went over two different examples of each, and then we worked through a bunch of problems together on an assignment, which will be out on the homework link once again. So first thing we talked about were combining problems, and we have an example. So yes, one common idea in word problems is that of combining, and this would be an example. Albert has $12, Betty has $15, so together they have 27. There's that concept of addition right there. This is the most basic type of problem basically that we could see. They're going to throw a little twist in once we get to our examples, but here's the basic setup of any combination problem. We follow a certain formula. You're going to start with sum, you're going to have some amount, and then you're going to add some more to that amount, and you get a total. So to abbreviate, sum plus more equals total. S plus M equals T. So we're going to set them up that way. So if we look at this problem, in the morning, the trip odometer in Mr. Chin's car read 47 miles. So when he got in the car, it read 47 miles. At the end of the day, the trip odometer read 114 miles. So how many miles did Mr. Chin drive that day? Alright, well, if we go back to our formula, we have sum plus more equals total. Alright, now we have to look at the numbers that were given to us. 47 miles, that's what he read as soon as he got in the car. That's your starting amount. He started his day at 47 miles. He didn't travel that far that day. That's just what he started at. That's right here. Should be black. Darker color. So, 47. Okay? Now we look at the other number they gave us, 114 miles. Well, that's what he read after his trip was over. So, that's a total. So we're looking for that M. This is our missing value here. So we have 47 plus M equals 114. Now if we solve for this M, that should be how many miles he traveled in the day. So, looks like we're adding to this M, so we're going to use our inverses. And the inverse of adding is subtraction. So we're going to take 47 away from 114. So minus 47, minus 47. Once again, we have to do this on both sides to keep our equation equal and balanced. So 114 minus 47. And if we do that, we should get 67. So N equals he drove 67 miles that day. Alright? So you can see that the little twist is that we have a combination problem, but in order to solve for our missing piece, we actually had to do subtraction. So that's the little twist that they throw in. But this is a combination problem. Alright, here's our second one here. The first scout troop encamped in the ravine. A second troop of 137 scouts joined them, making a total of 312 scouts. How many scouts were in the first troop? Okay. Well, once again, we're going to use our S plus M. Sum plus more equals total. Alright. Right off the bat, they told us that this is actually our total, 312. So it'll be 312. And the first and second troop. We don't know how many were in the first troop, that's what we're trying to figure out. But we do know that in the second troop there were 137. So we're going to be looking for this sum. So sum plus more equals our total. In order to figure this out, once again, looks like we're adding to that variable, so we're going to do the opposite, or the inverse, subtract 137. Those will cancel out. Subtract 137. So S should be 312 minus 137. We go through and do that, we should get 5, 7, 175 should be our answer. So 175. 175 troops in that first group. Okay? Okay, now moving on to a different type of problem. Another common idea is separating an amount into two parts. And often separating involves something going away. And here would be an example. It's easy to think about money with these types of problems. Mr. Smith wrote a check to Mr. Rodriguez for $37.50. If $824 was available in Mr. Smith's account before he wrote the check, how much was available after he gave the check to Mr. Rodriguez? So, it's easy to think about money, maybe even just walking into a store with a $20 bill, you pay for something. You started with 20, you pay for something, that gets taken away, and then you're handed back your change, or what remains. And that's our basic formula here. You're going to start with the beginning amount. Something's going to be taken away, and they're going to have whatever's left. So, beginning amount minus whatever went away equals whatever remains. So we're going to follow that here. Beginning minus A equals R. Okay. So it says, Tim baked 4 dozen muffins. He made a platter with some of the muffins and gave them away to the school bake sale. He had 32 muffins left, which he packed in the freezer bags to store in the freezer. How many muffins did Tim give away for the bake sale? Okay. Well, he had 4 dozen and he gave away, or no, he had 32 left. Okay. So first thing we got to do is figure out how much 4 dozen is. Well, I know 1 dozen is 12. So this 4 times 12 should be 48. So it looks like he began with 48. And it says our 32. He had 32 left. So 32 remained after he gave away. 32 is what he had left. Okay. Now we need to figure out what's going on here. 48 minus some amount gives us 32. Now, this will go back to our inverses and everything. We are subtracting here, but we're not going to use the inverse addition because it's not the way the problem's set up. If you're subtracting a number, then you would add to solve for your variable. But we're subtracting the variable, and that's a little bit different. So since we're subtracting the variable, in order to solve for A, we're going to take 48 minus 32. And we should get A equals 16. Now let's say that you weren't quite sure and you still you still added anyway. You did 48 plus 32. Well, try putting whatever you got for A back into your equation, like I'm about to do. We got A equals 16. So if I do 48 minus 16, I should get 32. 8 minus 6 is 2, 4 minus 1, 32. So we know that this is correct because it works when we put it back into the equation. So technically we should never get any of these wrong as long as we're checking and making sure that everything matches up. So I advise you to always double check and check your work, and you should be a lot safer that way. Let's look at our last one here. Alright, The room was full of boxes when Sharon began. Then she shipped out 56 boxes. Only 88 boxes were left. How many boxes were in the room when Sharon began? Okay, so we're looking for that beginning amount this time. That means we're looking for B. Excuse me. It says she shipped out 56 and then 88 were left. So 88 remain. That's not on the right side of our equation here. And she shipped out 56. So 56 is what went away. And we're trying to figure out that beginning amount. Now here's the difference between this problem and this problem. Here we're subtracting a number from the variable. Here we were subtracting a variable from the number. This is where we use our inverse. This is where we say, okay, we're subtracting from that variable, so now we're going to add 56 to both sides. And that'll keep everything balanced. Okay, so these are going to cancel out. 88 plus 56 should be 14. Here are 1 there, get another 14. 144. So B equals 144 boxes. Alright, if we went ahead and checked our answer, we could do 144 minus 56 and we should get 88. So let's check that. 144, 56, subtract 14 minus 6, 8, 13 minus 5, 8. We do get 88. So it checks out and it does work. Alright, so just a couple examples on our combining and separating problems, and then mixed in with some review on an assignment. That'll be on the homework link. So lesson 11, 7th grade.